We've got a brand new opening range indicator. I've had a lot of requests for this over the last few weeks, and I know a lot of you over on Discord have been waiting for it, so here it is. This indicator was designed to be easily automated by the Predator X order entry, and not only that, but it's also strategy builder friendly, meaning that even those without the Predator are able to automate and create their own trading bots with this using NinjaTrader Strategy Builder. This indicator is going to be completely free and it's also going to be open source, so have fun with it. Links for everything are going to be down below. In this video, I'm going to show you examples of how to automate this indicator in two different ways. First, because it's the easiest and fastest, I'm going to start off with an example using the Predator X. Then we will turn over to Strategy Builder so you guys know how to use these signals in there as well. As always, nothing you see in here is profitable. We're just showing examples of how to create your own bot. So customize this however you want and do your own testing before trading live. All right, first, what is an opening range indicator? An opening range indicator is just going to mark the highest and lowest point of a selected period in a day. And that period is usually the opening of the market. And obviously, you can choose any period that you want, but the opening is the most popular because it has the most volatility. The idea behind an opening range is once your range forms, you're just waiting for the price to break out of that range and you enter in whichever direction it breaks because the probability of continuing in that direction is a lot higher. So let's go into the properties and go over how this indicator works. For this first version, we kept it very simple. We already have plans to upgrade this. We've been getting a lot of requests from Discord members, so we'll definitely upgrade it in the future. But for now, the plan was to keep it simple, bare bones, no frills, opening range indicator. So here you can select your opening range start and your end time. So let's say you want to change this and we want to look between 9:45 and 10 a.m. So it's just going to change that range and it's only going to look between this time period. So let's switch that back. With this indicator, you can also choose the time zone you're looking at. So Eastern and Central seem to be the most popular, but you have all of these options as well. Choose whatever works for you. So if I was to choose CST, it's just going to move this to 1 hour ahead. So between 10:30 and 10:45. And it's just ahead because my computer is set to Eastern. So it's just looking at that time. Let's move this back. Then for a visual effect, you also have the ability to highlight the range. It just makes it easier on the eyes to know exactly what range you're looking at. But if you don't want that, you can simply remove it as well. So let's put that back. Then down here, you have your Predator X signals. And this is what's actually going to be put into the Predator in order to automate this indicator. So if you're familiar with the Predator already, you know these are the tags we use. But if you're not, we're going to go over that in just a minute. So again, these are just your entry points. For your outer signals is when the price breaks out of the range. So you have your above upper will give you a signal. Below the lower will give you another signal. And then your inner tags are for when the price breaks out, but then comes right back in. So if you go under and over, so above, lower, or if you go above and then come back in, you'll have your below upper. So it gives you a little bit more customization to exactly where you want to enter a trade. And for like the probably 4 nerds in my group that like to actually know how these indicators are built, this one I actually did a grok video on and it will come out probably next week. So if you're interested in how we created this indicator, make sure you guys watch that video next week. I'll post it up here when it's done. But with that, let's move on to actually creating our own trading bot. All right, starting off with the Predator X, in order to automate these third-party indicators, we must use the custom signal system. I made it really easy with this indicator. We are just going to copy and paste this above upper and below lower. So once you have the indicator on your chart, simply just go to your strategies and we're going to load the Predator. This will work the same whether you're lifetime or on the free trial. So all that we have to do in order to automate this indicator, we're going to scroll down to our auto entry section, select custom signals. Under entry signal, we're just going to type in above upper below, lower. And that is all that you have to do. Now you can customize your order management, any additional filters like time or P&L limits. That's all easily selected through the Predator. So let's run through a quick example. I'm just going to go into my order management. Let's say I want the Predator to automatically calculate my position size, and my risk per trade is going to be 250. And my stop, I want an ATR based stop. This is my typical setup for a lot of strategies, not just this one, but this is actually what I like using. So a 2.1 ATR, and I also like to set up a trail stop. So for my trail stop, I also like trailing using an ATR, and I like to set this 2.1 times multiplier. I'll update during the intro bar, and I don't want to start trailing until it reaches my first profit target. I'm going to set this to 1.5 ATR as well. So now I have my position size, I have where my stop loss is going to be set, and an ATR based trail stop. Now I just have to set my profit targets. So target one. So these are all going to be ATR just because that's what I like using, but customize this however you want. The Predator gives you a bunch of different options. So target one, 1.5. My second target is 2.5. And my third profit target, setting it a little farther away at 5. Now, let's say I only want to trade during certain times. You can go down to your additional filters, your time within filters. I only want to start trading between 9:45. That's when my opening range indicator ends. So that's when I want to start actually taking trades. And I only want to trade up to, let's say, 4 p.m. So only during regular market hours. So that's all you have to do for your time filters. Let's set up a P&L limit as well. So I'm just scrolling down, use realized profit and loss. For this one, let's say you only really want one good winner in a day. I'm just going to say if my realized profit ends above 225, I want to stop trading. Or if it ends at a $400 loss, let's cut the trades. Again, you have all of these options for a whole bunch of customization. You can find out exactly what all of these options do in the user guide. Again, links for everything down below. So once you have everything that you need, you are good to go. Let's test this on the playback. So as with any signal, when you're using it with the Predator, we must make sure our indicator is loaded on the chart first. So in this case, we have it on the chart. Everything is good. We typed in our tag info into the Predator. So now let's enable it. Once it's enabled, we always have to make sure we look at the upper left-hand corner, and we're going to see our tags. So above upper with a check mark, and below lower with a check mark. That means that both of our long and short signals are valid, and it should be good to go. So all we have to do now is hit play or run it live, whatever you want, and it should take any trades. So here 930 hits and our opening range indicator starts. It's going to mark the highest and it's going to mark the lowest points of this entire range. So 9:30 a.m. until 9:45 a.m. All right, so now it hit that 9:45 mark and it's no longer going to calculate the range. Now it's just going to keep everything even. And at this point, we're looking for a break either above our range or below the range. Order submitted. So here the price closed above the upper range. Once it did, it created our signal. The Predator was able to read the signal and enter a trade based on that signal. So now we have our ATR based stop and profit targets. And we'll see if it reaches this first profit target, that's when our trail stop should start. Order filled. All right, so it hit our first profit target. Our trail stop starts. So now it's just going to follow it up. And we get stopped out on the last position there. And because we did not hit that 225 mark, we are actually eligible for another trade. So let's see if it comes back in and then breaks out again, we should be entering one more time. And again, you can customize your P&L limits any way that you want within the Predator.
Order submitted.
So here it went back within the range. That's why we see this down arrow, but we do not have the Predator set to these levels. That's why we did not take that short. But then the price broke back above the opening range, created a long signal. We re-entered into a long position. So again, it's going to start trailing if it hits that profit target. Or if we get stopped out, we'll have to try again.
Order filled.
And it hit that first profit target, and now it's trailing back up.
Order filled.
And guys, with the Predator, you also have the ability to control the direction of your auto entries. You can control your stop directly through the chart trader panel. So if you wanted to go to break even, stop trailing, change your trail stop. You can even set your stop directly to these plots if that's what you wanted to do. So all of that customization directly within the Predator. And here we get stopped out, but our P&L, our realized P&L, is above that 225. So our daily realized profit is reached. We are no longer going to take any new trades until the next day. So that's how you can automate this indicator using the Predator X order entry. You just put the tags in, customize your order, and you're good to go. But for those who may not have the Predator X yet, let's show a quick free example using NinjaTrader Strategy Builder. All right, here we're going to create our own trading bot using Strategy Builder. To open up Strategy Builder, just go to your control panel, Strategy Builder. This page will come up. Now, for the settings, I'm going to try and keep it very similar. I'm going to do 3 separate profit targets. I'm going to do a trail stop, and I'm going to set a time limit. Now, with Strategy Builder, we are a little bit more limited compared to what we can do with the Predator. Now, for this one, I'm not going to do a realized P&L. I do have another video up here on how to do that, but just for the sake of this video to not make it too long, I'm not going to include that in this example. So again, we're just sticking to 3 profit targets, trail stop, and a time limit. So let's get started. We're going to go to a new strategy, select next. For this one, I'm going to call it ORB example. And select next. On-bar close should be plenty good enough for this one. It's usually the easiest option to work with. That just means it's only going to calculate once a bar closes. So that's what we're going to use for this one. Now, in this page, the only other thing that we need for 3 separate profit targets, go down here to the More Properties, and under Entries per Direction, we are setting this to 3. This, like I've said in other videos, is not how many contracts you can enter with. It's just how many separate targets you can have per each entry. So entries per direction set to 3. Now, additional data, custom series. I'm trying to keep this one short and sweet, so I'm not going to use any of these. If you were using the realized P&L example from my other video, you would likely need a custom series. But let's move on. And inputs and variables. So in this page, we're going to define where we want each of our profit targets, where we want our stop, and also when we want our trading bot to start taking trades and when we want to end taking trades. This is not for the opening range. This is just for the bot actually taking trades. So let's actually start off with the time. So I'm going to call this one start time and select the time from the type dropdown. And this one, I'm just going to keep it pretty much the same as the other one, 9:45 a.m. And time. And just keep in mind, guys, these start and end times are not going to be the same time zone as the ones you select within the opening range indicator. So if you have 2 different time zones, just make sure you adjust for that. This one is going to be for your local NinjaTrader time. The opening range is going to be for whatever time zone you select. So in many cases, they will match, but Just I know some of you guys are in different time zones, so just keep that in mind. So for this example, though, everything for me is in Eastern, so that's what I'm going to stick with. Now I just need to define the order quantity for each target and how far I want my profit targets. So let's start off with order quantity 1, or let's just do quantity 1, integer, which we'll stick to 1, that's fine. Quantity 2, and we'll just set all these to 1, but again, you guys can customize this right within the properties, so it'll be really easy to change to whatever you guys want. Now, how far we actually want our profit targets to be. For this example, we're going to stick to a tick profit target because it's the easiest to work with. So int 1, I'm going to say, I don't know, let's do 50 ticks. Then profit 2, we'll do 100 ticks. And then profit 3, we will do a little farther away at 200. Now, where we want to set our stop, this one I'm just going to do one stop for all of them, so I just need one value that's going to be shared among all of our targets. So this one, I'll say 200 takes, that should be okay. And that should be all that we need for our bot. The variables we don't really need. These are just more containers that store information that we can call later. But again, just trying to keep it simple. We don't need any of that here. So now we go to our conditions and actions page. This is where we actually make things happen. So the first thing I like to do is make sure before we enter any more trades, I want to make sure we are in a flat position. I don't want to keep trying to enter over and over if we keep getting multiple signals. As long as I'm in that trade, I want to stay in that trade and I want to see it through. So I go to strategy, current market position is equals to strategy, market position, flat. That is my first condition. Now we're going to define our time period. I want to say that time, I want to say time series of the current bar, bars that go 0, it must be greater or equal to my user input start time. So if we're above or greater than our start time, we are good to take trades. And I also want to add another time condition. So same thing, time series. I want to say if it's less than our user input end time, then we are also good to take trades. So only if it's greater than our start or less than our end. Now for the actual condition to enter a trade. Let's go to add, and we're going to say indicator and scroll down to where are the O's? ORB TradeSaber. So from here, you can select all of your options. I'm going to plot it on the chart because I actually want to see it. And from here, you can define your opening range time. So I'm going to say the same thing, 9:30 a.m. till 9:45 a.m. If you want to change the time zone, you just have to type in the code. So if you want it central for whatever reason, you just come up here and you would type in CST and it will adjust that for you. But for this example, I'm just keeping it at Eastern. And now we're going to scroll down to our plot values. And this is the most important part. You can actually create your own signals and use that opening range. So when the price breaks above the opening range or breaks below it, or I created these plot signals directly into the indicator to make it as easy as possible. So just go to signal, make sure that's selected, is equals to MISC, scroll down to numeric value, and for our long condition, this is going to be a +1. That's all that you need. You just need that signal value to be equals to +1. And now we can actually enter our order. Go to the bottom page, add, order management, enter a long position. The quantity is going to be quantity 1. And our signal name is going to be entry 1. And now we just have to do this for each of our 3 profit targets. So again, we're going to add order management. The quantity is going to be quantity 2. Signal name entry 2. And one more time, enter long quantity 3, entry 3. And I believe that is all that we need for this strategy. Now I'm just going to make a copy of this set and do the same, but for the short side. So now in set number 2, let's just click on that opening range line and make sure again that you have that signal value plot selected. And we're just going to change this to a -1. That's going to give us our short signal. We just changed that. And now we just have to change our orders for the short side. So actually, I'm going to delete all of these. It makes it a little bit easier. And then enter short. And same thing, you can use quantity 1. Entry 1 is the signal name. And we're doing that for all 3 as well. So enter short, quantity 2, entry 2. Enter short, quantity 3, and entry number 3. All right, so now that we have all of our order conditions, let's go to our stop and our targets page. And this is where we set up our stop and our targets. Now, in this page, I want to set a trail stop with all of my entries. And how we do that with Builder is we must set it initially from this page. And we cannot combine it with a stop order as well. So when you're using Strategy Builder, you either use a stop loss or a trail stop. You cannot use both. So that gets a lot of people. Make sure you're only using one or the other. So just to make it easier, I'm doing the parabolic stop, and that's going to actually trail my position. I'm going to set the mode to ticks, and the value, I'm setting it to my stop value. That's at 200 ticks we defined in that variable section. So hit OK on that one. And now we have to set our profit target for each one of our targets. So go to add, profit target. Make sure you do not set that total position because each target is going to have a different entry signal. So from entry signal, first is going to be entry 1. That has to match the same signal from our initial order entry. Make sure this is spelled correctly. Entry 1. Mode, again, I'm going to change that to ticks. The value is going to be profit number 1. Now we do that for the other 2 as well. So add profit target. This one is going to be entry 2, ticks, user input, profit 2. And again, profit target, entry 3, ticks. The value is going to be profit number 3. Once we have that, that should be all that we need. Let's just hit that compile button, and then we're going to move on to our chart. All right, once it's all compiled, let me make this a little bit bigger. So from here, I'm going to load our new strategy on the chart. So right click, go to strategies, and you should see it from our drop down list. So ORB example. And again, you can choose your start time, the quantity for each profit target. Then you also have the distance for each profit target and the distance to your stop. So that makes it a little bit easier to customize there. So let's just hit apply. And down in the strategies tab, we're going to hit enable. And if we scroll back, we should be able to see it from previous days. Here is this one. You have to scroll back a little bit more. And it would help if I have, let's do text and markers. So here it just entered a bunch of times. So you probably would have been much better off with that P&L limit, but again, this is just a quick example to show how to automate this indicator. So I'm going to just run it, and that should be the end of the video. All right, so here 9:30 starts, and our opening range indicator, because it's set to plot on the chart, it automatically starts plotting that indicator. So we'll speed this up just a little bit more.
Order submitted.
All right, so our opening range finished, and then it broke above that opening range. It detected that +1 signal plot that we defined, and it entered our trade with our defined targets. So let's just keep playing. And you can see as the price keeps moving up, it's also automatically trailing that stop.
Order filled.
So again, it just broke above again and it hit all the profit targets right away. But I think we get the idea. We're just using those signal plots to define our entries and then create our own trading bot based on those signals. So I hope you guys found this video useful. I am going to likely upgrade this indicator with more targets, maybe a 50% range. I know I've been getting a lot of requests on Discord, but this should be a good start to getting started with an opening range. So I'm going to cut the video here. All links to download are going to be Discord, my website, all down below. But as always, take care. Enjoy.